Hi, I'm Beverly, and welcome back to the Caregivers table. I'm so glad you're here. If you're caring for a loved one, a parent, a spouse, a child, or even a friend, this space is for you. Each week, I share a few minutes of encouragement, a simple tip, stories from my own caregiving journey, and the honest truth about caregiving that people don't always say out loud. And through it all, a gentle reminder, you don't have to walk this road alone. So take a breath, settle in, and let's spend a little time together at the Caregivers table. The first week of August always feels like a turning point. Summer is still here, but the pace begins to shift. The days are still warm, but you can feel life quietly gathering speed again. For caregivers, though, Overwhelm doesn't follow the calendar. It doesn't wait for seasons to change or schedules to settle. It shows up whenever it wants. Sometimes overwhelm arrives quietly, in the middle of a grocery aisle when you're staring at a shelf of options and suddenly can't remember what your loved one can eat now. You stand there holding a can of soup, realizing you've been carrying decisions all day without even noticing. Sometimes it hits hard during a doctor's appointment when the news isn't what you had hoped for, and you're trying to listen, take notes, ask questions, and hold your own emotions in all at once. You walk out of the doctor's office feeling like you're balancing on a tightrope that no one else can see. And sometimes it's just a slow buildup of 100 tiny responsibilities that never stop coming. The phone calls, the medications, the paperwork, the reminders, the emotional labor of being the steady one. Overwhelm in caregiving isn't usually dramatic. It's cumulative. It's the weight of decisions, the constant vigilance, the emotional load of loving someone who needs you in ways that stretch your heart, your energy, and your soul. If you've ever felt that heaviness lately, nothing is wrong with you. It's what happens when you're carrying more than most people will ever see, and doing it day after day. There's something powerful about naming overwhelm instead of pretending it isn't there. Caregivers become experts at pushing through, staying functional, doing the next thing, because the next thing always needs doing. But naming overwhelm gives you permission to breathe. It lets you acknowledge the truth without shame. Caregiving teaches you resilience, but it also reveals the places where you're tired, where you're stretched, where you're longing for a moment of quiet that doesn't get interrupted. It shows you the parts of yourself that need gentleness and not pressure. And here's the truth. Overwhelm doesn't mean you are weak or you're failing. It doesn't mean you should be doing more or handling things better. It means you are human. It means you care deeply. It means you're doing the hard work in a world that rarely slows down enough to notice. If you've ever felt like you're juggling too much, or like you're one unexpected phone call away from tears, I want you to hear this clearly. You're not failing. You're carrying a lot, and you're doing it with love. You show up day after day. Overwhelm is not a verdict. It's a signal. A reminder that even the strongest hearts need rest. Even the most capable caregivers need support. Even the most devoted people need moments where they can set the weight down, even briefly. And if no one has told you this lately, you deserve steadiness. You deserve to breathe. You deserve care too. I want to share a moment with Phil that taught me something about overwhelm and about grace. It was early August, one of those sticky Michigan days when the air feels thick enough to hold your thoughts. Phil had been through a rough week, multiple appointments, a medication change, and one of those nights where neither of us slept much. That next morning, he wanted to sit outside for a bit, so I helped him to the porch and he settled into his favorite chair. He looked so tired, not just physically, but in that deep, soul-level way caregivers recognize instantly. After a few minutes, he said, "I feel like everything's happening faster than I can keep up." He wasn't talking about the illness. He was talking about life. The pace of the world, the expectations, the pressure to act normal when nothing felt normal anymore. I remember sitting beside him, feeling my own overwhelm rise like a tide. But then something gentle happened. We didn't try to fix anything. We didn't try to be strong. We just sat there, two people facing a hard season, breathing in the same heavy summer air. That moment taught me this. Overwhelm loses some of its powerness when it's acknowledged, when it's shared, when it's not carried alone. And now, as I care for my mom, I carry that lesson with me. Naming overwhelm doesn't make you weaker. It makes you honest, and honesty makes room for grace. So, if you're feeling overwhelmed right now, let me normalize that for you. If your mind feels cluttered, that's normal. If your patient is wearing thin, that's normal. If you're grieving the version of yourself who had more energy, that's normal. If you're tired of being the strong one, that's normal too. Caregiving is a marathon made up of sprints. You're allowed to slow down. You're allowed to rest. You're allowed to be human. You deserve compassion, especially from yourself. One verse that steadies me when overwhelm starts whispering is Psalm 61:2. From the end of the earth I call to you when my heart is faint. Lead me to the rock that is higher than I. There will be days when your heart feels faint, days when your strength feels thin, days when overwhelm feels louder than hope. But God is your steady place, your higher rock, your grounding when everything else feels shaky. Here's one simple thing you can try today when overwhelm sets in. Create a 60-second reset, just 1 minute. Set a timer if you need to. If you have a cell phone, you have a timer. During that minute, breathe slowly and say, God, help me carry only what's mine today. Overwhelm often comes from carrying tomorrow, next week, and next month all at once. A 60-second reset helps you come back to the present, the only place where grace actually lives. Before we close, I want to remind you of something tender and true. You don't have to be everything for everyone. You don't have to hold every piece together. You don't have to pretend you're not overwhelmed. You just have to keep showing up with the heart you already have. And that heart is doing more good than you realize. Before we close, I want to remind you of this. You are not meant to carry every part of this journey. You are not meant to hold every fear, every emotion, every outcome. You are allowed to rest. You are allowed to breathe. You are allowed to let God carry what is too heavy for you. You are doing emotionally hard work, but you are not doing it alone. Thank you for joining me today. I hope something you heard gave you strength for the next step in your journey. Remember, You are doing meaningful work even when no one sees it, and you are not alone. If you'd like to connect or share your caregiving story, you can find me in the Caregivers Gathering Place of Hope on Facebook, a community where you do not have to pretend to be strong all the time. And if you'd like more encouragement, my cookbook on Amazon, Comfort and Care, a Caregiver's Cookbook, offers both easy recipes and everyday hope. If a part of this episode spoke to you today, I would love to hear from you. Please email me at thecaregiverstable@yahoo.com. Thanks for listening, and I'll see you next time at The Caregiver's Table.